Hello everyone and welcome to episode 1 of the Luke Smith Show. Today we got a hot one for you. We're discussing all the new head coaching changes in college football. We've had quite a few over the last 48 hours or so. Some pretty big ones. We're going to run down all of them today for you. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss this one. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. So in total we have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 new head coaches that will be taking the field for SEC teams next fall. Now we're starting off with the, I don't believe this is the latest one, but it is just the one I've decided to start with, and it is Kentucky finally firing Mark Stoops after 13 seasons as head coach for the Wildcats. I mean, just not a great career at all. No big accolades from Stoops. My notes are not pulled up. I meant to have notes on Stoops, and I do not have them. Give me just one moment. Yeah, I mean, 82-80 overall career for Stoops. He's been there since 2013. I mean, he's been to 8 bowl games. He's only won 4 of them. There's 500 in bowl games. Yeah, I think it was finally time for Kentucky to move on from Stoops, mainly just because they needed this change of scenery, because there's so much, they could do so much at Kentucky, but they have decided for the last 12 years that football is going to instead be just pre-game to basketball season, which, I mean, I guess that's the thing with Kentucky. They're not really a football school, they're more of a basketball school. So I guess it would make sense as to why they would go more that route. But Kentucky goes all the way out west and gets Oregon's offensive coordinator in Will Steen. So Steen, the only connection that he had really to Kentucky was that he was a quarterback at the University of Louisville. So a little interesting there. He's 36 years old. He's a young coach. So if he's good, he should be at Kentucky for a long time. Assuming, it does go that way. He played at Louisville. I don't have his years up. Bear with me, guys. This is the first show. But yeah, I'm seeing he played from 2009 to about 2012 for the Louisville Cardinals as a quarterback. Very interesting there. Offensive-minded guy. He's never been a head coach before, which I'm seeing now. Very interesting. Hire. I think that this could be a good hire for Kentucky. Offensive-minded coach. If Kentucky can get the recruits, I mean, they are in a very tough situation with the surrounding parts around Kentucky. I mean, you got Ohio State, not far. You got Louisville. You got Missouri. You got even Penn State. You got all those Big Ten schools up there competing. Even South. You got Tennessee. Now you have Vanderbilt. I mean, it is just difficult for Kentucky to be able to recruit. So if Steen's going to have any success here at Kentucky, he's got to be able to win these recruits over. How he's going to do that, I have no clue. I like the hire. We'll see if this actually works out. Sometimes we see these offensive coordinators become head coaches and it doesn't really work out. Coordinators sometimes are not better head coaches. But hey, maybe this will be different. I think all Steen really has to do is just, get Kentucky to a bowl game, because really that's all Mark Stoops had to do to stay there 13 years. I think that this is a good hire. He's a young coach. If he's good, then he'll probably be at Kentucky for a long time. I'm trying to find more of his background. But yeah, I mean, just looking at it, he was a co-offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach at UTSA in 2022. He was a receiver coach for UTSA in 2020 and 2021. He's from Louisville, Kentucky. Played at Louisville. Obviously, a little bit weird there. He's going to coach for his probably is his rival his whole life. But he's coming back to Kentucky. He's a Kentucky guy. He's been in Kentucky, native there. Does appear that he had some connections to Texas. I'm seeing some of that. He coached for a high school team. He was a offensive coordinator and quarterback coach from 2018 to 2019 at Lake Travis High School in Texas. Interesting there. I mean, Texas high schools are basically the equivalent of colleges when it comes to football. So it's definitely interesting there. Yeah, 2008 to 2012, his playing years, he played 5 years of college. 2012 was the year he played in the most games. He played in 12 games. Only shows that he had a 20 for 34 with 131 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But he's a coach. We're not here to talk about his playing days. He was a quarterback, so obviously he's going to be an offensive-minded coach. I think these are the best kind of guys if you want at a head coach. I think this is, like I said multiple times, I think this is a good hire. I think Kentucky, I don't know if Kentucky's going to be on the uprise, but maybe Kentucky football will be a little bit interesting to watch. I mean, a high-powered offense at Kentucky could really do them pretty well here. But we'll definitely see if that is the hire, if they made the right decision there. I mean, no head coaching experience. That's the only head scratcher I have there. But I mean, offensive coordinator at Oregon, coached under Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning's an amazing coach. He's gotten Oregon really going in the right direction. And I don't believe I saw the years that he was the Oregon OC. So he was the Oregon OC and quarterback coach from 2023 to this year. So I assume that means that he will not be the offensive coordinator for Oregon in the playoffs, which that could be detrimental for Oregon if they do not have their offensive coordinator. I don't really know how that's going to work. But yeah, what I'm seeing here, it said we don't really have much on him. I mean, other than he was a quarterback, a couple schools he coached at, was offensive coordinator and receiver coach, and quarterback coach, obviously. I'm not really seeing much information on him. Just looking around, there's not much on him. So, I mean, he's gonna have a fresh start. This is his first head coaching opportunity, coaching Kentucky. So, we'll see. We'll see how long he's going to be there. I mean, at Kentucky, it is such a low standard there that you do not really have to be, an amazing coach to get that long-term extension. But I mean, all he has to do is win, 7 or 8 games. Every now and then, win 9 games. Get him to a bowl game. Win a bowl game. That's all he really has to do. I think, to maintain success at Kentucky. So, that's all I really have for that hire. This one kind of came up quick. I actually didn't see this until today. I'm shooting this Monday. This podcast is going out on Tuesday. But this hire happened yesterday on Sunday, along with a lot of these other hires that happened Sunday as well. And that's basically all I have for that. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next coaching hire. We'll move a little bit south to the great state of Alabama. Alex Galesh, the USF head coach, leaving USF to coach the Tigers. Now, this is one that I'm really interested about. I'm really interested about this one. He was officially announced the coach today, Monday, December 1st. He was the head coach at USF for 3 years. It says prior to USF, Galesh worked as an offensive coordinator at Iowa State and was part of the staff at Illinois and Toledo. I'm seeing that Galesh has stated that he plans to build a physical and explosive offense for the Tigers. That's something that Auburn has lacked the last couple of years. I mean, you chase some of your best players out the program, and really it's the fans. Sometimes the fans at Auburn, they're chasing their players out. I look specifically at Bo Nix and maybe Cam Coleman. I think if Galesh can keep Cam Coleman, And maybe Eric Singleton comes back for another year, gets another year of development, has a good senior year. And Deuce Knight, the quarterback, I think that's a bright future Auburn has there. They have the pieces to solve the puzzle. But the better question is, can Alex Galesh solve it? And I think, I don't know. It's an interesting one there. You look at USF before Galesh, not good. I think they went 2-10 twice and 1-11 once. But yeah, and then you look at when he got there. This was his first head coaching job. I'm seeing that. Before this, he was a tight ends coach and offensive coordinator at Tennessee from 21 to 22. Served as a tight end and co-offensive coordinator at UCF in 2020. And before that, he was a tight ends coach from 2016 to 2019 at Iowa State. Excuse me. And then from 2012 to 2015, he served on the Illinois staff for multiple years, doing different things. He was an RC and tight end coach. He was a tight end running back coach and an RC in 2014. And then he was a tight end and special teams coach in 2015. And then before that, he was with Toledo for 3 years, serving multiple different staffs. And then before that, he was a grad assistant for Oklahoma State and Northern Illinois. So, yeah, I'm looking at a lot. He doesn't have, his head coaching record. Of course, he only had South Florida, but he went 23-15 over 3 seasons with the I did the Buffaloes? The Bulls. Sorry, the Bulls. Sorry about that. But he went 23-15, got USF in playoff competition this year. I think he went 7-5, 7-5, and then 9-3. So, well, that wouldn't add up, would it? I need to have my system a little bit better here. Excuse me, they're 8-4 this year. That's right. Okay, they're 8-4 this year. He's 2-0 in bowl games. He's made it to a bowl game in the last 2 seasons for the Bulls. Of course, we're not coaching their bowl game this year. Just looking at some of his stuff, he's got some pretty good, or he's got a resume. He definitely has a resume to build off of. Just kind of looking when he was at Tennessee. Galesh followed Heupel to Tennessee as offensive coordinator and tight ends coach in 2021. During the 2021 season, Galesh helped Tennessee shatter 8-team single-season records, including points, total offensive yards, touchdowns, point after touchdowns made, total first downs, rushing first downs, fewest interceptions thrown, and passing efficiency. Tennessee improved their scoring offense by 101 spots, going from 108th in the country in 2020 to 7th in 2021. In 2022, Galesh once again led the Volunteers to their best offense in school history, finishing as the top-ranked offense in the nation with 46 points per game. Now, that's pretty impressive that he was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee in 2022. That did not really register with me until now. Tennessee had explosive offenses from 2021 to 2022. And really, if he can replicate what he did at Tennessee to Auburn, then Auburn is going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next couple of years. And then he goes to South Florida. It says on December 4th, 2022, Galesh was hired as USF's 6th head coach, inheriting a program that had gone 4-29 over the previous 3 seasons. In his first year, Galesh led the Bulls to a 7-6 record, including a 45-0 shutout victory over Syracuse in the Boca Raton Bowl, marking the program's first bowl win since 2017. So, right away, he comes to South Florida. He already starts bringing in success. And that is, that's pretty encouraging coming from a group of 5 team that, of course, was 4-29 over the last 3 seasons before he came in. It says in the following season, USF again finished 7-6, highlighting by a thrilling 41-39 5-overtime win over San Jose State in the Hawaii Bowl. Galesh became the first coach in program history to secure bowl eligibility, in victories in his first 2 seasons. Wide receiver Sean, okay, we don't need all that. But says Galesh had a pretty good, he had pretty good first 2 seasons. And then we move on to his 3rd season. So in his 3rd season, he had a breakout year, culminating in a 9-3 record, the Bulls' first 9-win campaign since 2017, and their best overall mark in 8 years. The team ranked third nationally in total offense and fifth in scoring, returning to the AP Top 25, peaking at number 18 for the first time in 7 years. Key early victories including a dominant 34-7 upset over number 25 Boise State. I remember watching that game in week 1. That was a thriller. And not to mention an 18-15 road win against number 23 Florida in week 2. Now we saw Florida obviously would go on to not have as good a season, but still a group of 5 team walking into Gainesville, taking down a ranked Florida team. Now the ranked part it really doesn't matter at all, but Florida, big win in a tough road environment. Big win, and they didn't really have that offensive explosion like most Galesh games are, but they definitely had a good defense for that. Both signature wins, both signature triumphs that propelled USF to a 6-1 start. The season ended with a 52-3 rout of Rice on November 30th, securing bowl eligibility for the third straight year under Galesh. So USF is going back to a bowl game. Now, obviously, they will not have Galesh for that bowl game, as I believe he will be going to Auburn. But there was talks that he would be going to Arkansas for a lot of weeks, and then eventually on November 30th, so yesterday, at the time of recording this podcast, he finalized a 6-year deal to become the head coach for Auburn. So there's a lot to look forward to, Auburn fans. That is all I'm going to say. I think Galesh is probably one of the better head coaches that we're going to see here. His alma mater is Ohio State. I'm just seeing that now. That's just a random fact out there. But I think if he can recreate his offenses at Tennessee and he can recreate the success he had at South Florida, immediate success. That was immediate success. It didn't take a year or two. It was immediate success from him. And you may be thinking, how is 7-6 of immediate success? Well, when your team was 4-29 the previous 3 years, that's immediate success. Immediately turning a program from 2-10, 1-11, or whatever they were, to immediately winning 7 games and going to a bowl game and winning a bowl game. That's pretty big. And then having multiple top 25 victories this season. He's a good coach. That's all I'm going to say. Alex Galesh, he looks like a good coach. Looking at the resume, he looks like he's going to win Auburn games. Now, that would be great. Now, I am a Georgia fan. I don't like Auburn. Auburn is probably one of my least favorite teams. But, from a college football fan, Galesh at Auburn looks to be very hopeful for Auburn fans. At the moment, I've seen some Auburn fans that don't really like this move, saying they wish they would have gotten someone better. Don't most of these teams wishing they could have gotten Lane Kiffin or someone. But, just looking at it, I wouldn't get hopeful, but all I'm going to say is Galesh is a good coach. And I think that he is going to give Auburn some fire. Now, this could be completely the same thing as Hugh Freeze. Comes from a group of 5 team we had success with, but the only difference between him and Hugh Freeze is that he hasn't really had any head coaching opportunities at a big level. But I think that Auburn having the type of offenses that Tennessee had in 21 and 22, that is scary to me. Because Auburn has always had good defenses. If Auburn has good defenses like they've had, I mean, even in these last couple years, their defense has been okay. But you look, Auburn has been built off of good defenses. Gus Malzahn had good defenses for Auburn. Looking at it, if they can replicate those defenses that they've had in the past, even this past season, their defense was not terrible. They just played some really good games and really struggled. Offense did not help them out at all. I mean, they lost the Iron Bowl this year solely because their offense could not keep the defense off the field. Turning the ball over in bad spots they did not need to be turning the ball over in. Auburn had a chance to win that game. But the offense just could not pull it out. So, Auburn has the pieces. Galesh has the pieces. Is he going to be able to solve the puzzle, though? I honestly hope so. As a college football fan, Auburn being good would be very good. Because it brings so much more of that excitement that we had in the 2010s back to the SEC. The SEC is a great conference, but it's very top heavy. If a team like Auburn could, occasionally go 9-3, beat a team like Alabama, beat a team like Georgia, beat a team like LSU, beat a team like Ole Miss, then I think that Auburn would be back. And maybe they could compete for a national championship and not just claim one. Little jab at you Auburn fans out there, if any are watching. But yeah, all jokes aside, I think that this is a good hire. Auburn fans, you may not like the hire. You may wish you got someone else. I don't know who you would have wished you gotten. But this is a good hire. I think Galesh is going to be a good coach. He's 41. He's young. If he does have consistent success, then he will be at Auburn for a long time. Probably. Unless he leaves for a better job, which I don't see why. Arkansas is a good program. They've got the history. They've got the tradition. That is a good place to be at in Auburn. So, I like this hire a lot. And, yeah, I like this hire. So, we'll move on. We'll move on to our next coach now. It is the Arkansas new head coach in former Memphis head coach Ryan Silverfield. Now, I laughed when I saw that that Arkansas was hiring Memphis's coach, because I was thinking, didn't Arkansas lose to Memphis? And I looked, and they did. They lost to Memphis. So it's one of those things. It's like, well, if you can't beat them, still their coach. But yeah, before going to Arkansas, he'd been the head coach at Memphis since 2019. I think 2020 was his first official season, but he held the job since December of 2019. His coaching record in 6 years at Memphis, he reached a 50-25 record, going to 5 bowl games in 6 years, and had a record of 4-1 in bowl games. His most recent season with Memphis, he finished 11-2, and in 2023, he had a 10-3 record. And Silverfield's teams have consistently ranked among the top 25 in scoring offense and have leaned on a balanced rushing and passing attack. That is perfect for Arkansas. They need to have good offenses to be able to compete in these high-powered games against some of these better SEC teams. Recruiting-wise, his first major recruiting win for the Razorbacks was the commitment of 4-star defensive tackle Danny Beale. I don't even know how to say it, and I don't want to mess it up. The number 1 prospect from the state of Arkansas in the 2026 class. That's perfect. He's already off to a good start. Less than 48 hours after taking the job, he's already gotten a recruit. And it's the number 1 prospect in the state. Now, you may be thinking, Arkansas, is that really is there a lot of good football players in Arkansas? Well, no, but it's a good start for Silverfield. It means that he can recruit in the home ground. But in a place like Arkansas, I think he needs to be kind of recruiting elsewhere as well. He needs to be good at recruiting, not just in the state, but outside of it. So now we'll look a little bit at his resume. He's got a long resume. He's got a big resume from NFL to college. So before he took the job at Arkansas, he was the Memphis coach from 2020 to 2025. I believe this was his first head coaching job. It was. So this was his first head coaching job. Before this, he was a offensive line coach in 2019, or from 2017 to 2019, he was an offensive line coach at Memphis. 2016 to 2019, he was an offensive line coach at Memphis. Before this, he was a assistant O-line coach for for the Detroit Lions in 2015. So a little NFL for you there. Toledo in 2014, he was an offensive consultant. From 2011 to 2013, he was assistant O-line coach for the Minnesota Vikings. So back into the NFL there. And 2009 to 2010, he was a defensive line staff assistant for the Vikings. So we're getting back in. So we're getting more into some like lower roles and some assistant more stuff. But Silverfield, he's 45 years old. Says his alma mater is Hampton Sydney. That's an interesting one. I've never heard of that college before. Where is that located? Hampton Sydney, Virginia. Nice. It says his playing days. He won a state championship in 1995 and 1998 for his high school in Florida. And he joined the coaching staff as an assistant for the 1999 season, ending his playing career. So after he was done in high school, he immediately went into coaching. That's interesting. Nice. Good job for Silverfield. So yeah, just reading off his Memphis resume, because if I read off all the resumes for all of the teams he's been on, we'd be here for a long time. We only have so much time. So after the conclusion of the 2015 season, he was hired by Memphis by Mike Norvell as an assistant. So the Florida State coach now, Mike Norvell, who was at Memphis at the time. I totally forgot about that, actually. He remained at that position for 2 years before being tapped as the offensive line coach and run game coordinator in 2018. He was elevated to assistant head coach in 2019 and was named interim head coach when Norvell left to take the head coaching position at Florida State. On December 13th, Silverfield was promoted to head coach and debuted in his first college game as head coach on December 28th against Penn State in the 2019 Cotton Bowl. So he was the head coach at Memphis. So he was even around Memphis, is what I mean. He was even around Memphis before he was the head coach. So he had been in Memphis for almost 10 years. And then, of course, yesterday, November 30th, Arkansas hired Silverfield as its head coach for 2016, succeeding Sam Pittman and interim head coach Bobby Petrino. Now, this is, again, Silverfield, a young coach. He's got a young career. He's gonna maybe have a long career with Arkansas. Now, all he has to do is Arkansas be consistent. Be consistently good. Get a good recruiting class. Occasionally knock off some of the better SEC teams. Just looking at the resume, I don't know if I like this as much as I like the Auburn hire, which at first I was thinking that Silverfield was the better hire, but now after kind of looking at Galesh's resume and looking at where he's come from, I kind of like the Galesh hire more than I like the Silverfield hire. Now, of course, I don't think Silverfield was the first option. There was rumors, of course, that Galesh was going to take the job at Arkansas before taking the job at Auburn, but they got Silverfield. I think they have a good coach. Just looking at his years as coach, he went 8-3 in 2020, his first official season as head coach. He went 6-6 in 2021, so kind of back a step there. 2022, he went 7-6, so a small step forward, but still. 2023, he went 10-3, 6-2 in American Conference play. So big step forward. And then 11-2 in 2024, big step forward, and he went 8-4 this year. A little bit of a step back, but still, Memphis was a pretty relevant team for most of the season. Ended up finishing 4-4 in conference play, but he was 50-25 overall as a head coach, but he was 27-21 against conference teams. That conference record needs to be better in the SEC if he wants to stick around at Arkansas. Now, of course, Arkansas has not really been a football school. Their basketball has been more where it's been at the last year or so, now that they got Calipari. But Arkansas, definitely, I don't know how bright of a future this is. I definitely don't think that this was their first option in Silverfield, but I don't think it's a bad option. I think that they got a good coach. We will definitely see if Silverfield's success in Memphis can carry over to Arkansas, which all of these coaches so far have been American Conference coaches, and except for Will Stein at Kentucky. He was, of course, from Oregon. But just looking at the resume between these two, there are some good coaches coming into the SEC. I think it's only going to get better. So Silverfield, if that success that he had at Memphis pays off, Arkansas should be good for the next couple years or so. But that's all I really have for Ryan Silverfield there. So moving on to our next head coach, it is a team that I despise as a Georgia fan, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But it's another Louisiana coach from a Group of 5 school coming to Florida. It is John Summerall going to Florida. Now, obviously, John Summerall was not the first option for Florida. Florida wanted Lane Kiffin. Didn't all of these teams want Lane Kiffin? I mean, this is a tough one. But I don't think this is a bad hire. I really don't. I mean, just looking at it, I think it's going to be... I think Florida football is going to be okay. I think he's going to be okay. Just looking at the resume, Summerall is 43 years old. His playing career, his alma mater is Kentucky. So that's interesting. The Kentucky job was open there. Could have went to his alma mater. But instead decided to go to Florida. Now, of course, I don't think the Kentucky job was open at the same time that he took the Florida job. But still, he's been the head coach for 3 different teams now, or 2 different teams, Florida being the third. He was Troy's head coach from 2022 to 2023, and then he was Tulane's coach from 2024 to 2025, and he will now be the Florida coach in 2026. So those are his only 2 head coaching, but before that, he was the co-defensive coordinator and linebacker coach at Kentucky, in 2021. For 2019 to 2020, he was the linebacker coach at Kentucky only. 2018, he was the linebacker coach at Ole Miss, and then before that, he was an assistant for a lot of places. It says he was the Tulane co-defensive coordinator from 2012 to 2014, and he was the linebacker coach at Troy from 2015 to 2017. So he definitely has a resume that he's built. He's won 2 Sun Belt championships. Those 2 coming at Troy, obviously. He was the Sun Belt Coach of the Year in 2022. And he's had Tulane winning. His Green Wave are going to be in the American Conference Championship this weekend. I don't believe he'll be coaching in that game. If it's the same situation as Lane Kiffin not being able to coach in the playoffs for Ole Miss. Unless I'm missing something there. But yeah. So just looking at the resume. So on December 2nd, 2021, Summerall was hired as the 23rd head coach at Troy University. In his first season at Troy, he guided the Trojans to a 12-2 record and an 18-12 Cure Bowl victory over the number 23 ranked UTSA Roadrunners. In Summerall's second season as the head coach, he would guide Troy to an 11-2 record and back-to-back Sun Belt Conference championships. And then you move on to December 8th, 2023. Summerall has hired as the 42nd head coach at Tulane. In Summerall's 2 seasons with the Green Wave, he's guided them to back-to-back American Conference championships. And then obviously November 30th, 2025, yesterday, he took the Florida job. He has a 6-year deal with an annual salary of $7.5 million, with incentives tied to the college football playoff. Our Authority University announced his hiring as the school's 31st head coach. Okay, so incentives tied to the college football playoff. I don't exactly know what that means. I think that means that if Tulane was to make the college football playoff, because they are in the hunt, definitely, they're probably going, they might be the Group of 5 representative. If Tulane was to make it, I think that means he would still get incentives if Tulane did anything in the playoffs. So I think that means he's not going to be able to coach, which would make sense because he needs to get there for recruiting. But yeah, just looking by the season by season record, he's coached 4 seasons as a head coach. He's 42-11. He's only had 1 season where he did not win double-digit games, and that was 2024. He went 9-5 at Tulane. He went 10-2 this season with the Green Wave. And before that, at Troy in 2022, he went 12-2, and in 2023, he went 11-2, winning a Sun Belt championship both of those years. So, and then in Tulane, he made a conference championship in both seasons. Now, Tulane has been a Group of 5 powerhouse for the last couple years. I think about, even before this, like 2021, they took down future Heisman winner Caleb Williams and USC in the 2021 Cotton Bowl. I think about that. That was a big win for the program. That was before Summerall. So he inherited a good program, but he still had success. He had 5 losses in that 2024 season, but he's only lost 4 conference games all time. He's 28-4 against conference opponents. If he carries that success to the SEC, then they should be good. I mean, it's going to be tough. Being the Florida coach is probably one of the toughest jobs in the SEC because the fans expect greatness, but your recruits do not come easy because you have to recruit in such a hard state. You have such a big backyard there. You got teams like Miami, you got UCF, you got Florida State. You even got some of the smaller schools like USF, and I don't even know who else. But there is a uprising in the state of Florida for college football. There's a lot of good teams. It's going to be tough for Florida to be able to have success. Summerall has got his work cut out for him. But if he can win, then that will be big news. Just looking at Florida's schedule next season, SEC-wise, they have to play Georgia. They have to play at Auburn. They have to play Oklahoma, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, on the road to Kentucky, on the road to Missouri, on the road to Texas. They have a decently hard schedule. If he's able to go 4-5 with this schedule, maybe beat, South Carolina, Kentucky, maybe Auburn. I don't know. We'll have to see how Galesh does there. I don't see him beating Texas. I really don't see him beating Missouri. I don't see him beating Vanderbilt. Ole Miss is there. Maybe. Oklahoma, no, I don't see that. And then, of course, he has to play Florida State. He's got his work cut out for him. That's all I will say on that. So if Summerall can win at Florida next season, if he can, get them to a bowl game, get Florida back to being somewhat relevant. If he can go 7-5, 8-4, that is a huge victory. I think the ceiling is 7-5, though. I think that's the best Florida will do next season. Unless I am completely wrong, Summerall could be an amazing coach that I don't know about. I've heard that he is a very good coach, but it's very different going from the American Conference to the SEC. So quick, like going from the Sun Belt to the American, I can't speak. Oh my gosh. Going from the Sun Belt and American Conference to the SEC, sorry. It's a big jump. Whether or not he'll be able to sustain that jump, who knows? The only reason that I am skeptical about any of these coaches is I look at coaches like Billy Napier and I look at coaches like Hugh Freeze. They had huge success at their Group of 5 programs, but they couldn't keep it up with recruiting in the SEC, and that eventually led to them being fired. So there are expectations for Summerall. There's expectations for Silverfield. There's expectations for Galesh. Galesh especially. Galesh and Summerall probably have the 2 biggest expectations. Stein and Silverfield, their expectations are not as high, but they definitely do have expectations. But yeah, Summerall and Galesh need to win. If they don't win, it's going to be a struggle. And that's really it for the group of 5 coaches at SEC schools. Now it is on to, I wouldn't say that it was the biggest surprise that it happened, but Lane Kiffin going to LSU. Now, this is a huge hire for LSU. Huge hire. It is going to be very hard for LSU to not be good next season. I think that Kiffin is going to have LSU back winning, probably competing for a playoff spot next season. I just think it is so bad. Or not bad, I just think it is, it's tough that a guy like Kiffin, he's worked his whole career at Ole Miss to make the playoffs, and now he gets there, and he's not going to be able to coach it. But he knew that. He knew that coming into it. That he was probably not going to be able to coach Ole Miss in the playoffs if he took the LSU job. And he still did. Now, just looking at the resume, again, Kiffin has an amazing resume. 116 and 53 in college as a head coach. Impressive. 8 bowl game appearances. Split 4-4. His first head coaching job was actually not in college. It was in the NFL, the Oakland Raiders. He was 5-15 in 2 years with the Raiders. He then took the head coaching job at Tennessee in 2019. That didn't last long, as we all know. He jumped immediately in 2010 to USC and stayed there until 2013. Then, after that, he joined Nick Saban's staff at Alabama for 3 years, from 2014 to 2016, as an OC and quarterbacks coach. He left Alabama to coach at Florida Atlantic from 2017 to 2019. He would then leave Florida Atlantic to go to Ole Miss, where he was there from 2020 to 2025. And now, he takes the LSU job. So, there's a lot. He has a gigantic resume that I'm not going to be able to read through all of it. I would just read through a little bit of this. I mean, I'm pretty sure you all know Kiffin's backstory pretty well. Just going to kind of look at his season by season. Yeah, but the only thing is, he won at Florida Atlantic. He hasn't really won anywhere else. Now, Ole Miss, he's had the last couple years that he's been really good. 2021 through 2025, Ole Miss has been winning good games. They have been winning big games with Kiffin. He's 55-19 at Ole Miss. That is his best that he's done anywhere. USC, he was 28-15. Florida Atlantic, 26-13. He only coached the 1 year at Tennessee. He was 7-6. Now, it is definitely going to be interesting to see how Kiffin translates to LSU. I think Kiffin is an amazing coach. The record from his previous years, I don't think really shows how good a coach he is. But Ole Miss, since he's been at Ole Miss, he's had to play good teams. And he has been winning. He is an offensive-minded coach known for his explosive offenses. The defenses, they've been alright. But LSU has been built on good defenses. That is my one problem here. He is an all-around good coach. But is he going to be able to provide LSU with the defense that LSU has been so built upon? On November 30th, he signed a 7-year, $91 million contract, making him one of the highest paid coaches in the sport. Additionally, it comes with bonuses related to Ole Miss's potential college football playoff run that could net him up to $1 million should the Rebels win the national championship. Will that happen? With Pete Golding, I don't know. Probably not. I think it would be lucky for Ole Miss to get out of the first round. That's what I think. And he's taking most of that Ole Miss staff with him as well, which is that makes it even more difficult. And a lot of people don't understand this move because they're thinking, oh, Kiffin, settle down. He's not like what he used to be, jumping from team to team, taking the money wherever he goes. And then he goes and takes the LSU job and proves everyone wrong. I don't think that Kiffin is going to stay somewhere that he knows that he can't win it. And I think that's the problem with him at Ole Miss. He knew that he could not win a national championship at Ole Miss, and probably was not going to win an SEC championship at Ole Miss. He got close this year, but he didn't. I think he has a higher chance of winning a national championship at LSU than he has at winning it at Ole Miss. Maybe thinking, why is that? Well, LSU gets the better recruits. They get the better playing style. They have the better atmosphere. LSU is the place that Kiffin wants to be at. If he can win at LSU, then they will reward him, and he will probably, and I say this, probably within his contract, he will probably get to a national championship. That's what I think, at least. If he can get the money, he can get the NIL at LSU. If he can win the games he's supposed to, not like Brian Kelly, and lose bad games at home at night, like he did against Texas A&M last season, and he did against Alabama the previous season. Kiffin can win. And if he does win, then it is going to be big for LSU. It's going to be big. Because I think LSU could really win a title. They got Van Buren as a quarterback. I believe he'll be back next year, unless he hits the portal. Kiffin is a good recruiter, and given LSU and his NIL, I think that he's going to get LSU the players that they need to get to win the big games. Whether or not he'll do this in the first season, I think LSU will probably go about 9-3. I haven't even looked at their schedule, but probably about 9-3 is what I'm thinking here. So, okay, I got the schedule pulled up. Let's just scan through it. Clemson at home in the first game. That's going to be a tough one. I think LSU wins that, though. Because I can't tell if this Clemson team is just having a down year, or if the Clemson dynasty of the 2010s is really over. So, that's interesting. I don't really know how that game's going to go. I'm going to give LSU that win, though. I think Kiffin is going to get a big win in his first game. That game's at home, too. So if he doesn't win that game at home, it'll probably be a night game. Probably be a 7 o'clock game at home, on the Bayou, in Tiger Stadium. If Kiffin can't win that game, then I think it'll say a lot about the rest of the season. He has to play, okay, so next game, McNeese, that's obviously a win. I don't see a world where LSU loses that. Arkansas, win. Auburn, win. Or excuse me, at Arkansas and at Auburn. I think those are both wins. I don't know. It depends. I don't think Galesh is going to have his guys in yet. Same with Arkansas. I don't think Silverfield's going to have the right guys in yet. I think Kiffin's going to be able to win both of those games. On the road to Kentucky. I think Kentucky is going to still be down. So I think LSU should win that game. Even though it's on the road, LSU should win. Give me LSU in that game. You're looking at 5-0. Alabama. This is the one game that I think Kiffin's going to struggle in, and I think he's going to lose. I think he's going to lose to Kalen DeBoer, even though that this game is in Tiger Stadium, in Death Valley. I think Kiffin will lose that game. But if he does, if he does, however, win that game, that is a huge win for his coaching at LSU. It'll be a big statement win. You got Mississippi State at home. I think he wins that game. Texas at home. Honestly, I think he wins that game. I think he beats Sark. If Arch Manning is back next year, unless Arch Manning has a huge development in this offseason, I don't see Texas beating LSU. Texas A&M. I see A&M probably losing that game. I don't know. That's a tough one. Since that game is played in Tiger Stadium, did they not play that game? I think they... Time out. I think I'm losing my mind here. Well, they did play Texas A&M at home, so they're playing Texas A&M at home in back-to-back seasons. Interesting. All right. So, they got to play A&M at home. At home, I think that environment helps LSU in their favor. Give me LSU. Ole Miss on the road. Now, I don't know who Ole Miss's coach is going to be. Is it going to be Pete Golding? I don't know. There's not a lot of guys available right now. I mean, there's guys like James Madison coach. There's guys like North Texas coach. But I've heard the James Madison coach is in talks to go to UCLA. I've not heard word about that North Texas coach. I feel bad just calling him North Texas coach because I honestly don't know his name. Eric Morris. So, and he is in the hunt for a playoff spot at North Texas right now. This year he has had a good season. Oh, I missed out on that. I missed out on that news. So, Eric Morris is going to Oklahoma State. Sorry about that. So, I missed out on that news. So, scratch that. That's off the table. So, the James Madison coach is available. Unless... I swear I can't keep up with all these coaching moves. I need to do a little research real quick on that. Okay, so UCLA is hiring James Madison's coach. So I heard rumors, but I didn't know that he was actually going. Bob Chesney is going to UCLA. So there's not really a lot of coaches available for Ole Miss. But back to Kiffin and LSU before I went on that tyrant. I think, and then the next game, Tennessee, I think he loses the Ole Miss, or I think he wins the Ole Miss game probably. He's going to Oxford. I don't think Ole Miss is going to be the same as they are. I think they're going to have some guys transfer out. They might have some guys transfer out with Kiffin. But I don't see Ole Miss winning that game. Give me LSU in that game. Tennessee on the road. More golf balls and mustard bottles. So, Tennessee on the road in Neyland. That's going to be a tough one. Is he going to be able to pull it out? I have no clue. I'd say no. I'd say Heupel gets him. So, give me Tennessee in that game. So that's 10-2, possibly 9-3, maybe 8-4. Depends if Galesh has his pieces good at Auburn, and if the Clemson year we've seen this year is a fluke. So it's either 8-4 or 10-2, I think. Hello. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. But what I was saying was it's 8-4 or 10-2. If Galesh has the pieces at Auburn, and this is not just a down year for Clemson, if Clemson is back to form next season, then I think we could see either 8-4 or 10-2 for Lane Kiffin as first year at LSU. That is a big jump from the season LSU had this year. Big jump. So I think Kiffin is going to have success early. I think he's going to continue the success he had at Ole Miss. I don't see a problem with that. I think Kiffin is going to do well at LSU. Maybe better than what he's done at Ole Miss. Seeing LSU back to form would be so good for the college football world. Seeing those terrifying LSU defenses. I remember watching the Ed Orgeron LSU's, the Les Miles LSU's. Those teams had terrifying defenses. Terrifying. LSU would not even be that good of a team, but you'd be terrified to play them because their defenses were scary good. But in the Brian Kelly days, I don't believe I've seen one LSU defense under Brian Kelly that made me just think, wow, that's scary. Because there hasn't been any. So if Kiffin can build the defense up at LSU the way he builds his offense, then I think that they are going to be very okay. Well, that's about all we have for this show. This is our first episode. Thank you all for bearing with me. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. We will have new episodes out. I'm going to be trying to do every Friday. If not every Friday, then we will do Monday or Tuesdays. But thank you all for watching so very much, and I will see you all in the next episode of the Luke Smith Show. Signing out. Thank you all for watching.